Well, if you're looking for playmakers over on the defensive side of the ball, the Washington Commanders sure did find themselves a couple in the first 2 days of the draft, and also got their shiny new quarterback some more protection up front as well. To help us break it all down, it's David Harrison of Locked On Commanders. And don't forget that all of our Locked On NFL draft coverage is brought to you by our friends over at Ultimate Pro Football GM. Think you can manage an NFL franchise? Well, head over to ultimate-gm.com so that you can try and play the Ultimate GM Simulator game that is out there. Start your dynasty today. David, I want to start off by talking to you about Quan Martin, the Illinois safety nickel corner. This guy was one of my absolute favorites coming into this year's draft. How excited is the organization to have a guy that's this whip smart, that is this good on the field, and that is just like this good a human being as well?
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's all the things you just said are the key points that Ron Rivera Martin Mayhew hit in our end of day press conference on day 2, talking about his football IQ, talking about his ability to make plays. His versatility is really the biggest thing. And I know versatility is something that every NFL team is looking for in these days, especially in the NFL drafts with these young guys that are coming out, really kind of have the ability to mold them into where you need them to fit in. Whereas in the past, teams would get criticized for kind of trying to jam a guy in there. But nowadays, so many players have this versatile skill set that it really gives these teams the ability to kind of customize the player once they get their hands on him. And that's exactly what they're looking for out of Quan Martin. And anybody who is wanting to Google him, you're going to have to look up Jartavius, but he is going to go by Quan here with the Washington Commanders. So that's what we're going to get to know him by moving into the future. And he kind of emphasized that as well, as his intelligence, his ability to kind of instinctually understand the game. And honestly, he was kind of asked, where did he learn that? Where did he get that from? And he kind of said, it's like, honestly, it's just something I kind of had ever since I started playing football, and something I've been able to really emphasize and use as leverage, but not in a way that sometimes you hear those kinds of answers and you're like, oh, this guy kind of likes himself a little bit too much. But it was a very kind of just real, honest answer. And honestly, when you turn on the tape, like you said, one of your favorite guys, one of my favorite guys as well on day 2 was him, Julius Brents or DJ Turner, that I was really kind of eyeing on this day 2 group, and seeing the Washington Commanders get one of them is very exciting, even if the strategy didn't really sit well with everybody right up front.
Yeah, I saw a lot of, in the best ways possible, C.J. Gardner-Johnson in Quan Martin after seeing C.J. play here in the New Orleans Saints system. But then you also add on top of it all, his character. He's a team captain, all those other pieces as well. Just really, really fantastic addition, I think, for the Washington Commanders. And another really, really solid addition for them is Ricky Stromburg, the center or interior offensive lineman out of Arkansas. And let's tackle that right now. Where is it that you think that he fits when it comes to this Washington Commanders offense? Is he a center? Is he a guard? Or will they kind of have to figure that out in time?
Yeah, he'll be listed as a center, like you said, but Ron Rivera really kind of emphasized again that versatility. He says he's got guard ability, he's got center ability, and I think at the end of the day, that's what the Washington Commanders are going to do. Right now, we can pencil in our starting 5 offensive linemen all we want to, but I think for the Washington Commanders themselves, they'll figure that out a little bit in rookie camp. They'll kind of test him out, I'm sure, in multiple locations, see how fluid the movement is, see where he really kind of fits in best and really picks up from the scheme standpoint. But, I mean, he had a 2-hour conversation with offensive line coach, currently assistant offensive line coach, but he will be the offensive line coach once they're allowed to make that move official. Travell Wharton, during his top 30 visit, a 2-hour conversation. And Ricky told us that during that 2-hour conversation, Coach Wharton would install him on offenses and then say, okay, I'm installing you on this. Now you install me on something from Arkansas. He would do that. Then they go back and say, okay, you install me on what I installed on you before you installed me in that Arkansas scheme. Just doing all these things just to test that football IQ. And it was a great time. And I think that versatility, the team leadership, like you said, the IQ, Ricky was somebody who set the offensive line calls, set the protections at Arkansas. Those are things that are going to be key for why they brought him into this roster.
Washington Commanders making sure that they get a new piece to help protect their quarterback and a couple of new pieces to get the ball back to their quarterback over on the defensive side as well. You want to keep up with everything going on with the Washington Commanders? Well, the one and only place to get that all done is the Locked On Commanders podcast, free and available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts every Monday through Friday here as a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where you can find David Harrison every day. David, we appreciate you so much for joining us here today as the Commanders wrap up the second day of their NFL draft.
Appreciate you. Roll Green Wave.